there. Whoa. Sorry, we do want to apologize for a late start, and this is because I think we had some uh, um, technical technical crisis that we're trying to resolve in the studio there. But we're back and we're online, so we do apologize for that. Uh, I was literally live on another channel, and studio was telling me, no, 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 I'm not live. But now we're here, and welcome. I want to welcome all our friends and all the people that will be joining and watching this broadcast at a later time as well. Welcome to our leadership conversation by Twilight Europe as well. We do apologize for the late start tonight, and that was just because of a technical glitch, So we're all over the place. Somebody was in Timbuktu and the other person was in Europe. Okay, so we're back together and we're integrated. Thank you so much for coming on board tonight. And if you're joining us just for the first time as well, we want to encourage you to please subscribe to the channel and also click on the notification bell so that you get alerts of our program when it comes on as well. So we're going to business tonight and our focus tonight. By the way, we want your comments, we want your thoughts, we want your concerns, questions, because these are some of the things that lead to some of our discussions as well, which has brought us to today's discussion actually. And today we're going to be looking at leadership values. Leadership values, that's where we're going today. And this is one key area that as leaders and in the leadership space we need to look at, because it literally represents it shows to us what we stand for. It makes us understand who are the kind of leaders that we have. Are they dependable? Who are they really are? And it's your values that really begin to talk about that. If I'm not getting ahead of myself, so I want to encourage us to get on board with the discussion tonight as well. I'm getting a whole lot of comments from everywhere. All my machines and everything are just working on my desk here because I'm running the studio tonight as well. So, but anyways, so I welcome you to tonight's broadcast. My name is JD Modede, and I am the regional ambassador for Etoile Europe. I think what Etoile stands for International Third World Leaders Association. And our focus really is the third world space where we want to as well be part of the solution, especially in the leadership space. Why? Because we believe that leadership determines everything. Leadership determines everything. Leadership determines everything. And this is one thing that we really want to work on. If we can get the leadership right, then we can, affect and impact, our nations, impact our space, impact, all the different areas there, So tonight, please send in your comments and your thoughts as well. And leadership values is what we're looking at tonight. So, and what did we say? We said, what really is uh, leadership? What really is values? That's what we're going to tonight. What really do we mean by values? A guy said something. Um, is one of the top executives. Well, I think it's actually one of the son of Disney, Roy Disney of Disney World, said, "Look, it's not hard to make decisions. It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. When you know what you represent, what you stand for, it's very easy to make decisions, because really values are those things that control behavior. Let's look at that values, because we sometimes we're choosing leaders and we don't really know what they stand for, and we don't know who they are. We can't really predict what they would do, and that is a very dangerous thing, So we got to understand what are really values, because everyone needs to set values. Organizations, businesses needs to set values. As a people, as a government, as a nation, as a community, we've got to set values, and these values control our behavior. Values are principles, or what we call standards of behavior. What is your standard? What is my standard of behavior? What is a standard of behavior as an organization, as a nation, as a leadership group, as an organization? What do we stand for? What do we represent? What can we be defined by? Values are one's judgment of what is important in life. What are those things that we stand to say these are priority, these are the things that are important to us, and these important things guide our decisions, guides our actions, guides what we do. Because leadership without values is a leadership that's open to all manner of choices and situations and circumstances that it will not be able to define. In fact, you will not be able to predict what is going to really happen within that kind of space. Values determine what's priority to you. So we have people in leadership today that we don't know what their priorities are. So we're trying to figure out. So we're very jittery. We don't know what to expect from them because they've not really made their values known to us. Leadership should not be in place. In fact, leadership values should be foundational to any leadership journey, any leadership activity in any way. I'm just to make sure that I'm communicating with my back end people. Yes. So values are foundational to true leadership. True leadership cannot operate truly without values in place. What you consider to be important, So as a father, what do you consider to be important? As a CEO, as the head of your department, as a supervisor, wherever you find yourself, what is that thing that you consider to be important? Because it is those important things that drive the things that we do, that determine, that help us, oh God, take the right step in the direction of our priority. We're working based on this priority. And why is this important? Why is this important? So what am I saying? There must be a purpose, because where purpose is not known, as our father will always say, abuse is inevitable. Why values? Why values? Why values today? So values are foundational to true leadership. They are, you can't build a house without a foundation. That's what I'm saying. When you know what your values are or what you stand for, I said earlier on, it is easy for you, especially in the face of crisis, in the face of critical situation, in the face of problems and all the chaos we have in our life. It is easy for you to know which direction that you're going to do. So the one of the purpose of values is that it stabilizes us as a people, as an organization, as a nation, as a government, as a community, as an institution in the face of crisis. Yes, there might be a crisis, but what is most important to us? So your values literally make you predictable. Your values make you predictable. And I've had the opportunity to set up quite a, to be part of the setting up of quite a number of organizations and also advising in governments and things like that. And one of the key things that we always put in place are what is our core values as well. What are core values? What are we known for? What are we going to see as most important to us? Some people say, family, integrity, relationship, and things like that. That means we do all we can to make sure that we don't jeopardize those kind of areas. Values are needed for effective leadership because without values, you can be influenced by what is just popular, and especially in the light of our world, swimming in the lake of democracy. So if you're not careful, and you don't have your values set in place, you can easily be influenced by what is popular, not what is right. Not what is right. I'm getting some text that some people cannot log in. I wonder what that is, but I hope they'll be able to also just get in at a later time to watch the broadcast as well. Okay, so values help you in the face of many popular choices not to be influenced just down a popular lane, but which might not be right, which might not be true, which might not be correct. You're actually be as a leader, you're distinguished by adhering, to your values. You're distinguished by adhering to your values. When you have values in place, it distinguishes you from many choices and options that is in our world today. And I can tell you, there's quite a lot of crazy things in our world today that we're trying to figure out, that we don't even understand where they're coming from. So values distinguish us in the midst of those popular options. But one thing I want you to know is that popularity or doesn't equal right. I remember I found the saying that many years, and I used to say, wow, popularity, the fact that you're popular, or the fact that what you want to do is popular, does not mean right. And you can see the effect of some of those things in our world today, because there's a lot of people talking about certain things that we want this, then we pass them into law without looking at the ethics, the moral, conviction behind it as well. So, and these are and values help us to be able to stand our ground in the midst of all that. Values also guides, leadership, guides leaders. It helps you from not ending up in what I call situations and circumstances that are not ideal, when we set values as well, especially in light of, some of the things I just said as well. It helps us not to end up, in circumstances that are not literally ideal. Values they're like, we could relate value to like a map, like a road map. In my line of some of my professional work, I put a map, delivery map in place to show us, how we're going to go from here onto there. We want a product. We want so what's the route are we going to get into? Investigating, researching, putting this together, getting a prototype, and actually delivering. And that's just in my line of work as well. So value, gives you a map, gives you a guide to be able to go through, guides you in the midst of many choices of life. If you do not have your values set, the many choices of life will confuse you, will, can take you off course. And especially if you're leading a people as well, you will also confuse a whole lot of people that are following you. Now, a lot of people might not necessarily agree, with the values that we put in place. But let me tell you something: people will eventually respect you for the values that you stand for, because that values is what is going to keep you stable in the midst of a rocking world. And the people that are really also looking up to you, following you as well, cannot follow an unstable leadership as well. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We're talking about values tonight, and for all those who are going to still join as well. Sorry, we've had a bit of technical itch, so some people have dropped off. Then they're just going to be logging back on as well, and we believe that we catch up. And the videos are always placed online on YouTube, so you can always watch this over again. So we're talking about leadership values. Values are what controls our behavior, are what those things that we consider most important to life. They actually guide our behaviors. Values make us stable and makes us predictable, especially in the space of leadership. Everyone must set values for their lives. What is it that you stand for? And we're looking at, why values as well. Values, they guide us. Values protect us in the midst of, many choices of life. Values are like a roadmap. So as you're journeying through life is going to present a lot of options to you. But if you don't have your values set in place, then you might be making the wrong choices as well. And this is one of the reasons why we need to be very, very careful. You need to have values set for your life. Values makes decision making easy. In fact, when people begin to know you for your values are principles and standards of behavior as well. When people know you for what you stand for, what you consider as priority, they can predict your decision. They can predict what you're going to say in the face of anything. That means people should not be wondering that, if we bring this to him, he's going to agree, he's not going to agree. If we bring this bribe to him, well, I think he will consider it. People should not even consider it at all, because they know what you stand for, what your values are. This is the purpose of value. Values influence decision, decision in every area of decision. Your decision making should be easy for you by reason of certain values. Value based on especially the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is original information, and some people will call it the word of God or divine information. The original information. So if your value is based on the word of God, that means it will influence every decision you make, every plan, everywhere you go. It will influence it because your values are based on the truth, on divine information, not some fake information, not something that is just that has no substance to it. So if you're invited to do something that does not line up with your values, what to do simply. It's so simple to answer. You don't need to dilly dally and things like that. And that is why sometimes you see leadership in some cases, they're all over the place, and you're wondering. In fact, the people that follow those kind of leadership, they're confused. So if you have to think about your values, if you have to think about what you have to do in any situation, that means, what am I saying? That means your values are not yet properly set in place. So if I offer you a bribe and you're thinking, I don't know if I should do this now, this might get me into trouble. Your values are not set in place. Yeah, you're considering taking it and you think, okay, if you take it, you might get into trouble. No, it is not even a consideration. Immediately, you should walk the person out of your office. That is when people begin to respect you for your values. Values control your behavior. Your value ensure that, and this is very important, especially for the people that we bring into offices and positions of leadership within government, within our community, even within our families as well. That your value ensure that policies that you put in place are fair and balanced, and they're likely to be fair and balanced, especially if your values are based on the truth, if your values are based on the original information, it influences your decision, but it also influences the policies and the decisions that you make. They're always going to be fair. A lot of the time, the people that we find in the positions of leadership, they put policies in place that are not fair to the people. They are unjust policies. And that is just based on their value system. If you have values that do not give regard to other human, you should meet other people as human beings, not as a Christian, not as a Muslim. You meet every other person as a human, and you value life. When you literally have value for life, the most likely is that every time you put a decision, you put a policy in place, you put a system in place, it will always be balanced and fair because it affects every area of our lives. So the policies you make in your organization as a government official should be fair, and people will respect you. People will respect you if your decisions are value based. If our decisions are value based, look, in this situation, my hands are tied because one of the things that we stand for is that we stand for marriages. We don't like homes. We don't break homes here. We believe that is one of the bedrock of our society. So based on that, the only route and the only decision we can make is this, in so that we can uphold a society. That's a value-based decision. A value-based decision you got to understand, how does it affect? Is it fair? What you're doing right now, what I'm taking right now, is it fair? And those are the reasons why we need to have values in place as leaders, as organizations, as businesses, and things like that, because it controls the behavior, it controls our actions, it controls our decisions. It is going to be very difficult to make worthwhile decisions. It's going to be very difficult for our leadership to be effective, impactful, and being able to cover that deficit that is in the space of leadership without putting proper values in place. Values showcase the depth of our character. Values showcase the depth of our character, kind of person are we? What kind of individual, what kind of organization are we? Are we just being tossed by the wind and things like that? And that is one of the things we got to understand, what values that the people that we call into leadership or in a leadership position. In fact, we need to demand what are the core values of this organization, what are the core values of this government, of these people that we're working with. Leadership values are developed through many, many, what do you call it, trials and tests, and it reveals, it showcases really what our abilities are, in order for us to lead others as well. So the question was, over the week as well, when we're discussing okay, so what are some leadership values, or values that leadership should put in place? And I think at the top of the ladder of all of that, number one, I think in every organization, in every person's life, one value that you put in place is the value of integrity and character. Integrity and character is so key to our world, and that is the one place whereby our leadership will succeed, breeds, and operates at all. Integrity is a distinguishing mark, for true leadership. It's being integrated into one. It's a complete wholeness. You're one and all with yourself. You're what you say, what you do, and what you think. What you think, what you say, and what you do are all the same. So you're all integrated into one. Sometimes we see leadership confuses people because they're not integrated into one. Your word must become your bond. As a leader, your word must become your word. So when you give people your word, they don't have to worry, they don't have to look back, they don't have to think back. Once you say we're going, it means we're going. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. We already know it's going to be difficult, but are you going to stand on your word? And if we do not have that kind of value system in place, it is difficult for you to command followership. It is difficult for your leadership to be able to really impact, lives, impact situation, and really be able to develop or worthy of looking up to as a role model. So we need leaders who value integrity, because this is going to make them, role models to others. It shows your reliability. It makes you predictable. And when we begin to study, and integrity, you got to understand, is a function of character. And character is that thing, is that state of being fixed and stable. In fact, if you study the word character, it's from the word statue. And when you look at the statue, if you look at the statue, statues are in different cities where you are, like in the country where I am, you have statues of different people all over the country here. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill is in Parliament Square, and it's been there for years. Right there, it's just standing there, fixed. In the summer, in the winter, the birds come, and make do on them. It's raining on them, it's snowing on them. They don't go anywhere. They don't move. They don't shake. Now, that's the kind of leadership that the people that our world is looking for. While you find in some situations where some people are very flaky, they're not resilient enough, they're not stable, they're not fixed, they react to every situation, so you don't know who you're getting at every point in time. And that kind of leadership is not sustainable. It's a state of being undivided. And that's the kind of value system that you want to actually put in place, when you're undivided. You're same person that will get today, tomorrow, when the situation is bad, the economy is bad, you're broke and busted and things like that. People do not really like you, are not popular right now, and tomorrow you're popular. Some people, once they start getting popular, they lose their mind, they lose their head, they lose control. And once their Instagram page is not commanding follower, it's like they're being depressed. Or some people come on social media in order to be able to resolve their depression and things like that. That is because we do not have value set in place. And we've got to understand that our integrity also strengthens our values, and beliefs as well. Integrity being, integrated into one. strengthens our belief. Integrity is a function of character, as I said before. Both of them works together. It's a state of being one and stable. Being fixed like a statue, being fixed. And that's why you use the word character for alphabets, numbers, and things like that, because they don't change. Who you are, it's quite different from what people think you are. Did I get right? Who you are is quite different. Some people they're waiting on what people say. They thrive on the popularity of, and everybody following them. Then that's what I call sickness. Who are you really when the lights are off? Are you the same person under the lights? There's some people that they're two different people. When they're under the lights, they're a different person. When the light goes off, they're a different people. When they're by themselves, they're one person. When they're in the crowd, in the midst of people, they're one different person as well. We've got to really look at that. And your character is built on the foundation of integrity. You've got to be your one self, that one self that we can say, this is the person I'm getting. This is the person I'm getting. Oh my God, our time is really, really up. And what are we saying? We're saying this: the deficit in leadership needs to be closed up with certain values in place. Now, I want us to really still dig into we having values. And what kind of values, do you have set in place in your life? Because your values make decision making in your life easy. Why are you struggling with making decisions? Why is our leadership, or why do you have leaders that struggle in making fair policies, balanced policies, making decisions that would truly represent the good and the interest or the benefits of the people? It's because we don't have values in place. The purpose of value is to be like a roadmap, is to guide us, is to help us. When values are not in place, then you're not predictable. People should be able to predict our leadership and say, this leadership is always looking out for the interest of people. I had once a prime minister was saying that we need to redefine marriage. That means they never really understood, marriage in the first place. They never really valued relationship, and so you see a breakdown of relationship all over the place because our values towards that area is very, very fluid. What is it that you consider important? What is it that you consider, a priority? Because that is what you stand for, and that is what is going to regulate the things that we do. I want to say, this is where I want to park it today, but please take these thoughts with you into every area of our operation as a family, as a people, as an individual as well, because this will affect your leadership. You cannot really have true leadership in place without a value system foundational. That is why most organizations, once they start up, they always put their core values. We're going to be looking at some more of this next week at the same time, same station, same broadcast, same time, 9 p.m. UK time on Etoile Europe, and it's going to be leadership values for the next couple of weeks. Let us look at this topic and so that we can begin to set some values in place. Does your organization have set values that they work by? Do they have values that define what they do? Does your office, your position, do you have values in place that guide what you do? I think this is one of the things I want to leave with you this week. And by the time you come back next week as well, and also send in your comments, share this with all your friends as well. This is also Etoile Europe. What does Etoile really stand for? Please listen to this as well. I look forward to seeing you next week as well at the same time. Thank you. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Miles Monroe Jr., and I'm the chairman of the board for the International Third World Leaders Association. Our organization was birthed to respond to and address the critical need for quality, effective leadership development and training in the emerging developing nations.
Our vision is to establish a global network of leaders from every discipline,
committed to the highest standards of excellence in leadership training, personal development,
mutual accountability, and fraternal support, implementing relevant and innovative leadership philosophy based on time-tested precepts, principles, and values.
Our mission is to influence the destiny of developing third world nations through leadership training,
personal development, supportive relationships, and global networking.
Our purpose is to provide transformational solutions
in response to the dynamic leadership needs of the emerging third world developing nations.
Our goal is to cultivate leadership commitment
to produce leaders
dedicated to the empowerment of their people,
the progressive well-being of their citizens,
and the betterment of their nation.
The strategic approach captured in the slogan coined by our founder, Dr. Miles Monroe,
was transforming followers into leaders and leaders into agents of change. Our focus is national development through transformational leadership,
transforming nations, communities from the inside out.
Join us in ushering in this new era of our organization.
We are tasked with carrying this vision forward.
And we are devoted to ensuring that we leave an unwavering legacy.
The organization that produces effective leaders
with global reach and influence.